Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of my podcast, Explore and Engage with Anam. In life, we make choices. We make choices every day at every single step, in fact. From what we are going to eat, what we're going to wear, who we are going to be friends with, what kind of music we will listen to, what kind of places we will travel to, and so much more. We make choices about how we will use the seconds, minutes, and hours of our lives. And life is full of choices. The kind of choices that we make and the actions that we perform determine the course of our life. Individual choices affect individual lives. Many individual choices collectively can lead to big changes in society. As Americans, we have the right to vote. And to vote is to choose. By casting our ballot for the candidates who we want to see elected for public offices, we exercise our right to vote. We exercise our right to choose. Many millions of people vote during the elections here in America. And most recently, the 2022 midterm election took place here in America. Now, there are always people who don't vote in the elections, and I have never been able to understand why some people don't vote. I think it's fairly easy to vote, especially because of the early voting rules. And so for me, I can't figure out why some people choose not to vote, because there are options to vote early if you can't vote on the day of the election. Voting is perhaps one of the most significant examples of our ability to exercise choice, not just as individuals, but as a society. To have a choice is a blessing. There are places in this world where people do not have the kind of choices that we have here in America. There are places with authoritarian forms of government, and in those places, people may not have the freedom to choose the leaders that they want. But here in the United States, people have a say in the electoral process. By voting, the American people can make their voices heard. We can choose our leaders. And to not make our choices at the voting booth is the same as detaching oneself from the process of governance. The first time I voted was here in the United States, and it was after I became a naturalized American citizen. And I was really thrilled. I was very proud. I was very happy when I voted for the first time. I said to myself, my vote matters. I can participate in the process of choosing our elected officials. Now, in all these years, since becoming an American citizen, I have voted in several elections, and I have seen my preferred candidates win, and I have also seen my preferred candidates lose. And that's part of elections. Some win and some lose. I am happy that I get to exercise my right to vote. I utilize my opportunity to choose. I make my voice heard. I fulfill my responsibility. And that's the next thing I wish to talk about. There are many slogans and speeches by politicians and political activists that inform people that voting is a right. It absolutely is. There is no doubt about it. Voting is definitely a right. But I wish to point out that voting is also a responsibility. And I'll say it again. Voting is a right, and it is also a responsibility. As US citizens, we have the right to vote. We also have a responsibility to vote. And that means we have to learn, understand, and follow voting laws and rules. And we have to make sure that we cast our ballots and participate in the process of choosing our leaders for various public offices. State legislature, Congress, office of the governor, office of the president. And it's not just state and federal offices. We also have to vote for candidates for the office of the mayor, city council, school board, and many more. We have to choose. As humans, we have our opinions and judgments. When we look at people running for political offices, then our natural curiosity should make us want to know more about the candidates. And that's really why a good candidate looks for exposure. From doing town halls and going to fairs and parades and meeting with people, to making oneself available for interviews on TV and radio, a candidate for public office must be visible and loud. Unless voters can learn more about a person who is seeking their support during election, how will they know what values, principles, and positions the candidate represents? Gaining the voters' trust is essential for a candidate, and it is the voters' responsibility to be well informed about the options that are on the ballot before making a pick. We are a diverse country. The population includes people from all walks of life. The population eligible to vote consists of those born in America as well as those who are naturalized U.S. citizens like myself. And people think differently. They have different views and priorities. We use a variety of criteria to judge candidates. Unless we know a candidate's background and political positions, how will we be able to decide if that candidate is the right one and whether that's the candidate we want to vote for? Once again, we must exercise our right to vote, and we must be responsible voters by carefully judging the candidates and picking someone who we believe would be the best person for the job. Why is it so important to elect good and effective leaders? Because our freedom is at stake. Is it a strong statement? Well, it is the truth. Our freedom is at stake. God grants us freedom. The freedom that we enjoy is God-given. But this freedom is at risk if we don't elect the right leaders for public office. The government, as necessary as it may be, also has a tendency to grow. The government likes to grow in size. The more the government grows, the less freedom people will have. This is an inverse relationship. Therefore, it is important to elect leaders who believe in limited government. Anyone who supports the expansion of government to increase bureaucratic footprint in the lives of the members of the general public must not be elected to any public office. That's my opinion. And that's what I had in mind when I voted in the 2022 midterm election and all the previous elections that I voted in. My podcast listeners know that I'm a conservative, a very strong conservative, a freedom-loving conservative, a conservative who believes in limited government and transparent government, a conservative who believes in the rule of law, a conservative who believes that human creativity must not be suppressed by government overreach, a conservative who knows that the ingredients for success are human ambition and willingness and ability to work hard. I am a conservative who believes in life and the power of truth. When the time to vote comes, I vote, and I want to help ensure that freedom is protected. Freedom to live the life the way you want. We get to choose our representatives, and we must not forego that opportunity. The 2022 election is over, but soon it will be time for another election and more beyond that. Celebrate the right to vote. Understand and fulfill your responsibility to vote. Be a part of making our country move forward into the future. Vote. Make your voice heard. That's all for today, my friends. Share with me your thoughts and comments. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope to be back again with another episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.